were guyed by heavy cables anchored to crossed timbers buried 8 feet in the sand. Copper aerial was connected to the transmitter by about 150 lead-in wires converging to an insulator atop the transmitter house. On January 18, 1903, Marconi himself tapped out the first wireless message ever sent from the United States to Europe. Old WCC operated for about 15 years. News received by means of a direct telegraph line from the New York Times was transmitted from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. each night. Private messages could be sent to ships at sea for 50 cents a word. Continuing erosion of the sea banks made the outer towers unsafe, and the development of the radio tube made spark transmitters obsolete. This, and the necessity of censorship during World War I, resulted in the station being closed in 1917. Later, in 1920, the towers were cut down and the machinery salvaged. Tower fragments and buildings were gradually carried away by the sea and firewood seekers. But long in the memories of old-timers hereabouts is the familiar sound of the famous WCC sending the nightly news coverage to all ships far at sea and far from home. Yes, it is quiet now, but it was not always so. History was made here.
Yeah, okay, we're back in the studio, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. Let's talk about that pie, the 100th anniversary. You were there, and like you said, you were there for 10 days. Let's talk about, first of all, when Bush, that must have been kind of cool when the president
that was
in
great.
contact
Great
with
to
us.
be able to have that, and we certainly appreciate it. There's a lot of work, you know, to get something like that done. That was probably a year ahead of time. We started the official process to be able to get that done. You know, because there's certain protocols that you have to follow and everything else when you want to make a contact through the White House. I don't know if things are going to be different now, but that's just the normal way, the chain of command, the way things are done. But during that 100th anniversary, you know, you could see some of the shots of our operation and everything down there. But the work that went into that, a lot of those antennas and everything that were put up, we did that in November, knowing that January it could be blizzards and everything else. We lucked out with the weather. It was just cold. We didn't have a lot of snow. But we put up some of those antennas, the majority of them, in November. And we had some help from the Harwich Fire Department to come down with the ladder truck.
We've seen the ladder,
which was great.
Yeah.
They were great guys. They came down. And interesting story, they helped us. They were able to get it all the way up to about 10 feet down from the top of the mast, just because of where they had to park on the pavement. This past weekend when we were down there for the 106th anniversary, someone had attached a pulley to the very top of that mast. And so we found out that evidently the Park Service had hired, I guess it must have been a steeplejack, to climb up there, and then he shinnied all the way up the top and attached a pulley. So
super.
We were able to make use of that, so it was even higher up, and we put that 160-meter dipole up higher. But great time, great experience, and
how about just coordinating with NASA?
Well,
that had, I mean, you know, that's something in itself.
Frank Bauer is one of the hams who's the key person there with NASA, and you know, I got to meet him down there. Then Barbara had a lot of contact with him before, but then I bumped into him out at the Dayton Hamvention later that year in May, and he was wearing one of these T-shirts because we had these Marconi operator T-shirts for everybody, and Frank got one, and he saw me down there in Dayton. We started talking and everything. He said, you know, I've done a lot of these, have done a lot of those school hookups with these through the. He says this was by far. He says this was the best. It's absolutely the best to be able to have Marconi's daughter utilize the whole communication system, and talk to the astronauts.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great.
And I know you.
And the voice that we had was Roy Neal. Now Roy Neal is a ham. He's passed away now, but it was, you know, he had said it was just one of the best
Yeah.
ones he had ever done.
Yeah, Roy's done some great
Right.
stuff for the ham community. Plus that Barbara Duncan, is that her
Dugan.
name? Dugan, yeah, she's really a gem down there with you guys.
Oh,
too.
I know it. I know. And
Yeah.
she's their education specialist,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's for all kinds of education through the National Park Service. But she's really keen on everything with Marconi, and because there's such a history with Marconi and some of the French cable station that's down in Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
and then in Chatham, where they have where the Marconi station ended up later on with what we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about earlier. So yeah, it's great to have someone like her that's
And we're going to see her. We're going to go right into this
Okay.
this next clip that you and Tom,
right. We were down there for the 106th anniversary this past weekend.
KB1TOM.
Right, Tom and our
Didn't lose that one
cameraman.
up.
That's right. And we had a good time with this. Much different type of operation, not the same, not as involved
Mm-hmm.
as what we had on the 100th. I mean, you could only do the 100th. I'm only willing to do that once every 100 years. Let me tell you,
Okay,
that is
yeah.
a big slice of time that a lot of us put in, but we certainly enjoyed being able to do that.
Well, the viewers will be able to see the difference too.
Sure.
I mean, but what you put together this weekend was very good too. And also we have that other piece that we'll be covering this weekend when we go down to K1 Victor's house. And we'll cover that.
Talking about the Jack Binns
Yeah.
anniversary event, that's right.
So that'll be in our next segment. So, anyways, we should be coming up to look at the upcoming one that you did. This would be the 106th.
106
Marconi.
last weekend, right.
How many contacts we did?
I don't know how,
No.
she hasn't sent me the log
Yeah,
yet to see how many contacts.
kept
I don't
busy,
know. It was quite busy.
Now, did they operate for 2 days or just the 1 day?
She actually was down there operating on Friday night. We were down Saturday. She spent the weekend down there, and they operated on Sunday too.
Okay.
So I'm sure that they made a good amount of contacts by the time they were done.
Very good. Well, this should be good to see too. Plus, you got one of the pioneers. I heard reference that he may have been in the picture with Marconi, but he
was just
one of you smart guys.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah. We got him.
Great guy.
We got him knocking out some pretty good CW. So, anyways, we'll anytime we want to get that up, and I guess we're going to be coming into it now. So,